What's up once again, y'all?
What's up, y'all? We are back again, and we got a fun topic to talk about.
Like every other time, what we got for them today?
We are going to talk about what is the number one thing that people get disfellowship for.
Oh, this is going to be a good one right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you ask the average Jehovah's Witness, they'll tell you most witnesses get in trouble for the same exact thing. Robbing banks, right? I mean, back in 2013, it was this video at the convention called Prodigal's Son or Prodigal's Return, something like that.
Yeah.
But it gave the example of the seriousness
of
sin and what people get disfellowship for. Let's watch and see.
Please don't go home tonight.
Jehovah, I'm so sorry.
This is just ridiculous. Like,
Overboard.
It really is. I totally forgot about this movie, but it was so big at that time. I forgot about how big it was.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching it because it played at a convention.
Yeah.
It was in place of like one of our drama days, wasn't it?
I believe so, and then they even gave the DVDs afterwards. But
yes,
it's funny seeing this from the other side of this cult now, being woke.
Yes.
Like it was supposed to be something that was very touching and all that, but watching it
made
now,
people cry.
Yeah, it personal hit, close to home for a lot of families. Now seeing this, listen,
it's funny.
This man got his first piece of booty and start crying in the alley. Like what? Boo-hooing in the alley. Like, dude, he supposed to be skipping home with theme music. No, you couldn't tell him by the way. High-fiving strangers. Like this man is crying. This dude is crying in the alley.
Crying in
You would have thought somebody passed away or something the way this dude acted.
The way that you would have thought he like killed his own dog, killed his own child, like
done something crazy, but
yes.
Yeah.
But this shows the indoctrination that you go through while being in not just this cult, but many high control like religious groups are like this. And the thing is, we get it. Okay, no sex before marriage, whatever. But to go to this extent for people to feel this level of guilt.
Yeah, like this is not normal. Of course, like you mentioned, a lot of religions teach that, and most of the people don't follow it anyway.
I would say probably 90% of the people do not follow it.
I'd say 90, 95, somewhere up there. Most of them people, that's a whole different topic. But the fact of the matter is, people do their dirt, they go back to church, and they continue with their normal family life, but they not to the point. Imagine this. When the last time you talked to your sister? I haven't talked to my sister in 20 years. That's terrible. You thinking it's something tragic. What happened? She had relations with this man she met back in,
Guys,
back in 2004.
Seriously.
What? So you ain't talked to her because what that got to do with you?
Yes.
Like, you know what
seriously.
I mean?
And when you put it into that perspective, like, just imagine that. You're not talking to one of your friends or your family members because they went and had sex with somebody.
That's simple.
Like, first of all, that's none of your business.
Yeah, so this, I don't know. But yeah, just going back and watching this, it was some other stuff because I did like a funny clip on this years ago when I was a witness.
I wish you still had it.
I wish I did too.
Put
but
it in here.
It was like, I guess to sum it up, when she was like, I don't want you to go home tonight. Trey Songz, I'm about to dive in, like crept, like the music came on. And the next was Born Sinner by J. Cole with the choir singing, I'm a born sinner. And he's sitting there boo-hooing. But I thought of this. Yeah. And then I just thought of this one clip. But I forgot. The whole rest of this thing was so dramatic.
It was terrible.
It was a part where I guess he started missing meetings.
Yes.
And then he started taking more hours at this job with this coworker that was bad association, and they told him not to move in with him, so he moved in with this dude. Yeah. And like the house was completely trashed, and he trying to stay up and study. Then it showed him like one night he's on this laptop typing, but it didn't show like what happened.
But we all knew like what they were trying to say, like what he was typing in.
I think it got to the point where his friend was drinking and driving, and they got into an accident, and the police got him. It was just so dramatic, like
so much drama.
Yeah, if you leave the meeting,
this is what happens. This like huge snowball effect of terrible things that happen in your life. And it was just, I don't know, that right there was ridiculous. And then of course at the end, he returns home, okay? Yeah. So he starts going back to the meetings and he gets reinstated, and now it's like a big bright future that he has.
Yeah. And I remember he had to meet with his elders to see, that's another thing. Like if you leave and come back, even if you're not disfellowshipped, they are going to have to meet with you and question you. That'll be on our following episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, what goes down in the back room. But let's just point out some weird points on how they really push this narrative and these rules in this religion.
Yeah, for sure. So just like they have these videos and movies that they put out, like putting up with the best case scenario would be for you, they also have another book called the Young People Ask book. Okay?
I don't even know how many they got by now.
They have a bunch of books, okay? But the Young People Ask book was something that the young people, or like if you were, I don't know, I guess under the bloom of youth, like basically like high school ages and like middle school ages, and it's just a whole bunch of questions in there. And some of the questions in there are like, who is asking this? Like
a bunch of old
nobody is
asking
this. Yeah,
and it's just the weird stuff like puberty, but it just make it extra weird and extra detailed, telling teenagers not to do nothing. Holding it. How does Jehovah feel about holding hands?
Right.
Just stupid stuff that teenagers are supposed to do.
Or texting somebody every day. Like it was.
Yeah, it was that bad.
Yeah. You couldn't even text anybody every day. Like I remember when that. I think it was either a local needs part or like a part at an assembly or convention where
both,
they were
probably.
Yeah, probably both. But they were talking about that and like, oh, if you are texting somebody of the opposite sex every day, you guys are dating.
Yeah.
And it was like a big thing, and back then we had like group chats of all of us, like we all like talked all the time,
right? Because that's what teenagers do.
Yeah,
like you talk to people.
Yes, and especially because this was like the age of where smartphones were coming into use, so it wasn't like and social media as well, where before all you had was like MySpace, you know what I mean? But this was like the era of like social media whenever I was a teenager.
Yeah, and this is the era of, it was texting versus back, it ain't like back in the 90s where you had to be at the house to pick up the phone and call somebody. Back before cell phones got, especially when it came to texting, like you might, if you did have a cell phone, you might be able to beep somebody, or that was the only way of communication. So it was a lot more, I guess, intimate, having a conversation. But times change. A text back and forth is not that deep.
No, it's really not. And so whenever the young people heard, oh, okay, can't text every day, it then turned to, oh, but we can Snapchat every day. When, kids just are always finding like the
loopholes.
All the loopholes, when in reality it's the same thing,
And this stuff is not in the Bible. Most importantly.
No, it's not in the Bible. This is just another example of how Jehovah's Witnesses will take something and literally just run with it and throw their own twist on it and make it even more sufferable.
Yep, definitely.
The thing is, if you are like following everything to a T, especially as a young person, you're going, for one, against your nature, and on top of it, you have all of these, not just emotions and like things that you're suppressing, but you're really suppressing a person's ability to talk to the opposite sex. So you have all of these people that are in that religion that think that they are so spiritually strong, but they have no social skills. So it's difficult for them to even meet somebody of the opposite sex, because when they do, they don't know how to act. It's worse. It's worse than like what you see on TV when like a girl or a guy just gets nervous and giddy. It's worse than that, because you get nervous and giddy, plus you can't talk about the things that you want to talk about.
Yeah, because it's so many things that you have to worry you being judged on.
Yeah.
There's so many things you're not supposed to watch or acknowledge or bring up in the conversation. You ask about, what do I talk about? Movies. Have you seen... Wait.
I'm not supposed to be watching that.
You know what I mean? Like, so this person is... You can literally watch the person's energy just like this.
They feel jittery. Like, they feel tense because they're not able to express who they truly are or what their interests truly are. Because, boom, if you like to watch Harry Potter, you're not supposed to be watching Harry Potter, and you don't know if this other person is going to be judging you for that, especially if you're interested in them, Yep.
And then even your hobbies, certain hobbies you can't have.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about things like that. And when you notice with a lot of, not all the Jehovah's Witnesses, but the ones that are like super awkward, there's a lot of silences in their conversations, in the exchange. Like, they don't know how to, all right, we end this topic and pick up and go continue. It's like, that was a good movie. Yeah. So like, it's very common in that religion to see people talking like that.
It's very common. And it could be common within like groups of people. So it's almost like people kind of rely on the social person within the group to like make everything go and flow. Yeah, it's true. And I know this like firsthand, because me and my sister were kind of like that, in in different parts of our social groups. It was like, I don't know, they were just awkward, but we didn't really carry much awkward energy. You know what I mean? Especially if it was like a co-ed thing, like if there was men and women there, like we weren't very awkward, know, versus the girls would just, some of the girls, they would just totally switch up, like to where they're fine with us, but as soon as they get around the boys,
I forgot about them type of folks.
Oh my God, they were like, they didn't know what to do, and I'm like, just relax.
Even like the part how something so small of a gesture can go so overboard to where they think this person want to marry them now.
And it could be the smallest thing. It could literally be one of the brothers opening a door for them, like doing something just normal, like normally chivalrous, or saying, oh, your hair looks nice today. Don't be a brother and just go complimenting all the women, because there are some
that are weird,
that will not know what to do with themselves. Y'all are married.
And vice versa. There are some of the men.
Oh my gosh.
My aunt had, to this day, he's a little different, but he always asks about my aunt. And my aunt been married since 2003. And every time, so how's your aunt doing? And we would say she's in Florida with her husband. Oh, okay, she in Florida still. Like, he would ignore the husband part. But when she was young, like, he was chasing her down the street like some crazy stuff. But yeah, it's a lot of men. Energy. It's a lot of men that are just don't catch the cues. Like, okay, she's not into me.
And some that you definitely, I guess it's kind of like normal life too, but it's just like worse. It's worse. There's more of those kinds of people in the organization because they make them that way.
Yep. Now, what ends up happening a lot of times in this religion, a lot of forced marriages. Because they put you on this short timeline, especially when you're young, and of course you got hormones and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses get married fresh out of high school. Like, it's It was an area in Ohio called Middletown, which is right between Dayton and Cincinnati. And that area was known for the quick marriages. Everything in between there, 11 and all that. Talking about 18 right out of high school, people was getting married because, all right, they don't even realize why they get married. They think they love this person, and you only allowed to date for a little bit. They say a year or two,
publicly date.
Then you start getting questioned. Oh, they must be doing things they're not supposed to be doing. Why they not married yet? Then you need to be engaged even shorter. Then y'all need to get married. So what happens? People rush to get married to this person because it's their hormones. And they haven't, got to express anything about themselves like normal young people.
And they really haven't been able to think it out.
No, so they hurry up, get married, and now you don't know nothing about this person because you're not allowed to hang together alone. You got to have a chaperone. You can't, stay at each other's house when it's just y'all, or have a regular conversation without somebody here in y'all business. So y'all not getting to know each other. You don't know how this person live, and y'all rush into this marriage.
Yes, it's just a lot, and that's why I will say I think most couples that end up married, they have walked that gray area already.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Because I just know from what I saw personally, that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't really anybody that just followed all of the rules to a T. They didn't.
Either that or the people that you think did just ain't talked about it.
They just don't talk about it.
Yep.
They don't need to talk about it because boom, they're married afterwards. So it's just like they're gonna keep that secret in between them. But it's the same things that people get disfellowshipped for. So in reality, these couples could get disfellowshipped if they would be truthful about what they did.
Right. I know a lot. It's a lot. And
I think almost every couple that I know.
Honestly. And it's just you don't want to be judged. That's all it comes down to.
And they just rush and get married so then they don't have to talk about it.
And there's a lot of disaster marriages because you get disfellowship for trying to divorce without having, anybody committing fornicate or adultery. So in that instance, people are stuck in bad marriages. Or you have some situations where a person would just go, you know what? I'll get this fellowship. I want out, and they'll go handle their business. It was
there's a bunch of people that
it was a person we had heard about like that back home. They told the elders ahead of time, like, I want out, and they said we're gonna have to disfellowship you. I don't care. I'm letting y'all know what's about to happen. I'm out.
Yeah, because a lot of people end up not truly knowing. It's no different than like normal life. You know what I mean? Where whenever you move in with somebody, like you don't all the way know them before you move in together. You know what I mean? But it is so much worse in this religion because you only know who they are as a Jehovah's Witness. You know what I mean?
Because they're not even allowed to be like regular people in real life can be themselves with each other. Without being judged as much
harshly. As you can. You know what I mean? And they're not like that. Like they're still trying to figure themselves out. I don't know. I feel like it's no different than normal life, but it's just way worse.
Because it's actual real consequences to stuff that's normal in
that's
real
what
life.
It is. That's what makes the pressure so much stronger. And you have these people that end up in marriages that they hate. They literally hate their marriage. They don't like the person that they're with. We had an elder couple. Okay, when my mom and my dad were going through issues together, and my mom was wanting to like get divorced from him and everything, I remember her going to the elders about it. And this was the advice that they gave her. They said, listen, we have another elder couple who is in a very similar position. They don't like being married together, but they do it because they're following, Jehovah's rules, basically. And I remember this couple that they were talking about. It was an elder and then his wife. And I remember he had this talk for local needs about how women need to give themselves up to their husband. And he was talking about it on the stage. This was after I found out that they were having issues, from my mom. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
But just understanding that detail about them, and then for him to be like emphasizing that on stage. Like, obviously, you're talking about your own situation.
Right, goof troop. If
Yeah.
anything, he should have paid somebody else to say it.
Right.
If he wanted that to get through his wife's head, because you just repeating the same thing you say at home, but now you putting it out there.
Yeah.
Your wife
But
know
then
who you talking about.
He continued on in the talk and was like, you know, even talking about like Jehovah's Covenant and staying as a union, even if you guys don't necessarily like each other.
That's terrible advice.
It was terrible advice.
Yeah, that is terrible advice. And these are not marriage counselors.
No,
these are people
they're not.
that got a fake religion, this, you know, man-made with these custom-made rules that get swapped out every once in a while.
Yeah, and in marriages, it's like, okay, yeah, you're not just supposed to give up on the person that you go into marriage with. Of course not. But there's some things that it's like people are repeatedly doing it and they have no care. You know what I mean?
It may be things you didn't even know about this person that was a deal breaker.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not even about, all right, rough times. We're talking about people that hate each other, that don't like being together.
Yes.
That's not fair, you know, but...
And then not being allowed to separate.
Yeah,
or you get disfellowshipped and completely wiped it. Like, you're already going through a hard time in your day-to-day life. And on top of it, if you do this, you're going to be disfellowshipped and excommunicated from this church. Like, what kind of sense does that make?
So they together for fear purposes.
Yeah.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Now, on this part, let us know in the comments if this is a common thing or if this is just like couple people here and there. But I feel like I've heard of a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses men getting disfellowship for messing with prostitutes. And that goes along with everything we mentioned, like with concealing and bottling everything in, being socially awkward. So this is not the average person like this is not gonna go know where to go for one and be out and about approaching women. Hey, how you doing? Like they weird. So this is like the best option. $40.
Might as well for everything that I want done or whatever.
Yeah.
And on top of it, they don't have like the ability to communicate like their wants or desires from their wife.
Right.
Instead, they feel so much shame because
facts.
It's true because of how Jehovah's Witnesses like make things seem. They literally had a talk before about not being allowed to
do certain things.
Yes, like oral things, okay, with your partner. So if you're having talks like this and that's what's in your head, and think back to the video we just played at the beginning, and this is how you're feeling after you do something like this, like, of course it's going to be easier to just like pay a prostitute. Right,
they would rather just do something that simple.
Yeah.
And it was like, we even told that story before about, it was an elder got caught in the park with a man that he tried to pay that happened to be an undercover cop. So stuff like this, it's a lot of these people are bottling in some wild stuff, because you hear some things, rumors about people that got disfellowship for some stuff that, hey, you like, man, they did what? Like that's common, because you are taking people that want to express themselves and convincing them they can't do it.
But you know what also is not normal is to have like those personal desires and things put on blast in a community.
Right.
That's not normal. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, every human, I don't care who you are, like everybody has kinks or something that like you would not want other people to know about, really.
But
you know
the thing in this religion, it's considered crazy kinks to them.
But it's just
normal. It's normal stuff. So, but like you said, something so small, everybody knows about it in the congregations. And
shame you for it, really. Yeah. So that is not normal. That is literally like torturous to a person who's had to suppress all of these desires, and on top of just simply not being comfortable with themselves, because this organization doesn't allow you to come into who you are and be okay with who you are. It's always, you're not good enough. Like, you need to be striving to do this and to be better in this way. So you never really get to feel like true comfort in that religion.
You got to be who they say you are.
Yeah.
Our final point is, when you realize how life works, when people have things that they want to do or they desire to do, and you try to force them not to do it, it's like the waves in the ocean going this way, and you trying to do this to them. It's not gonna make a difference. You are not stopping the motion in the ocean. So you trying to force people not to do this, they still gonna go toward the sand every time.
Yes, and it's a part of human nature. It's like how we're made. It's the same. I think we were just talking about this the other day, but like with racist people, like racist dads or parents that are telling their kids, like, you better not bring somebody of a different race to my house, it like
it spikes
fuels
the
it
curiosity
even more.
Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like it really is a part of like our human nature. Whenever we're told like you absolutely cannot do this, like don't touch. It's like if something says don't touch the paint, like it makes you want to touch it.
Yeah, it's like I didn't think nothing about this paint, but now
that you said something, I can't like, you know?
Right. So especially when it comes to people, somebody that's, you know, a teenager that can't even talk to this girl alone or hang out somewhere out in public without being you know,
chastised.
Yeah, chastised and watched over by another person the whole time. Like, realize what type of disaster you cooking up.
Yeah.
And telling these people you can't do none of this ABC. And this is why people get in so much trouble in this religion. And why so many people do stuff but just can't talk about it. You know what I mean? And Disfellowshipped, in it, you can pull it up. It says about 70,000 people leave this organization a year.
A year.
You come across a lot of people that have been disfellowshipped, some multiple times.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's just over these things, like to not be able to speak with your family or your friends that you've always had because of these normal like human responses, you know?
Yeah.
I think the punishment for it is just way too vast.
It is. It ain't fair at all. And this is like, even if you are, you know, a religious person, you can still say, well, you know, the Bible says don't do ABC. Yeah, we get it. That I'm not a religious person, but even if that's what you believe in, it's not that drastic to where you have to shun your family members forever or for years and years until, even if it was something they did one time years ago, to hold that against them for years, decades, sometime into the grave if they don't come back.
Yes, but yet they can harbor child predators within the organization.
Exactly.
Because there weren't two people there to witness it.
You know what's even worse than that?
Huh?
You can be a pedophile and stay in this organization, but you can't as an apostate. That's crazy. These people are welcome back over and over, but the moment you become an apostate, nobody can talk to you.
Yep.
Only because you don't believe. For y'all that don't know, their term is, that means you don't believe in this religion.
Yeah.
Now you're an apostate, you're the worst of the worst, where it really just means somebody that left a government or a religion, any religion.
And so they're filled with a bunch of apostates in reality, because there's many people who have converted from a different religion to become Jehovah's Witnesses.
Exactly.
They are apostates.
Right.
You know? By definition, they're apostates.
That's ridiculous, but that's something we really needed to share, because we just thought of that. Like, we know what most people get disfellowship for, but that's something.
You ask anybody, that's their story. You know, it's rare for me to hear of like a different story that's not like something that's sexually related.
Right.
You know?
It's always that.
Yeah.
It's the exact. That just shows you how normal it is if everybody's in trouble for the same thing.
It's probably like 70 to 80% of people who get disfellowship.
Probably even higher. Because it's not much other than get in trouble for stealing, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard some weird ones, smoking cigarettes and stuff. I've heard like stuff like that, you know, but not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard a wild one. Somebody who was.
I don't even know if you could say that on YouTube, lady. Don't say that.
You knew what I was gonna say?
Yeah, you cannot put that on YouTube. We'll get flagged.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, but on that note, we got a part 2. This is a 2-part video.
Yes.
Part 2, we'll be talking about when you get drugged in that back room.
What goes down?
What goes down in there is, we got some stories, because we share y'all in the comments. Matter of fact, share some stories, because we might have to do another part of that one.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, you know what we got for y'all in the description below. What can they find?
Our healing journals, we have the Pimo edition and we have the normal edition. So if you feel like you have been feeling stuck since leaving this cult, this is a very introspective way to just like get your feelings down and help you dig deep within yourself. And
figure out how to move forward, because there is happiness on the other side of that cult.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. And hit us up on our Instagram at Awaken Truths IG. And what else?
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Indeed. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Part 2 coming up.